What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here with an official showcase of Halloween lore, because I've already uploaded did I upload any videos regarding Halloween lore? I can't even remember, but anyway, I want to go ahead and start making videos with the actual legends that I've been pulling for, right? So today we're doing an official showcase video for Halloween lore. Actually, it's been a long time since I've done like a full-on official showcase. I think, well, legit, when I got Odin and Roger, I'm pretty sure I did official showcases as well, but I haven't done them for the official Halloween legends yet. So this is what we're doing today. We're going to be breaking down Halloween lore, using him in various pieces of content, a Garp challenge, some Colosseums, a raid boss, ambush quest. We're going to be using him in a lot of content, showing you guys what he's able to do, and man, this guy is a bunch of fun. But before we get into that, I want to just talk about his ability, so you guys understand what he does before we actually get into the content. Of course, there's going to be timestamps down below in the video timeline and also in the video description, just in case if you want to skip towards just viewing the showcase straight away. But let's have a look at this guy. Halloween lore is an int cerebral slasher, and he is a super type character. His captain effect is going to boost int characters attack by 4.25 and give them a 1.4 HP boost, which is exceptional, and then gives your characters get additional attack every time you hit a perfect, and it stacks up. So you want to be trying to hit multiple perfects in a row, and it stacks up to a 5 times boost once your final character is attacking and you've hit all of your perfects. Now, he has an added effect that says it damages all enemies for 100 times damage received from the enemy in the previous turn. So however much damage that you just took, deal 100 times that damage back to the enemy, and you'll be seeing in this video today how amazing that particular effect actually is. And then he has also one other effect that states he resists 10 turns of despair. Now, in this content that I'll show you guys in this video today, I don't think there's any content that actually inflicts me with despair, but just know that if you are going to go into content and you're building an int team and using lore as your captain, you do not need to worry about despair, which is very, very nice to have. Now, his super type special does require very specific units on the team. It's either a Luffy character or a former or current warlord unit, so it is a little bit restrictive in some aspects. If you have the brand new Halloween Mihawk that came alongside this lore, those two particular units make an amazing team together. I don't have them in every single team, but in a lot of teams that you'll see in this video today, it'll have like lore captain and then Mihawk sub, and both work either way. You can have double Mihawk captains and then lore sub. Like, they both work exceptionally together, which is great. You can hybrid them up if you want to do that as well. But there's a lot of other units you could use here. There's obviously V1 Jinbei is really good. The new Rare Recruit Buggy is awesome. Legend Buggy technically you can use with him as well. Super type Blackbeard you can use with him. Limited Rare Recruit Moria. There's a couple of int Hancocks as well. There's an int Bartholomew Kuma. There's a couple of int Dophies. There's a few Mihawks. Like, there are actually a lot of units you could use, but it does depend on the content and what you're coming up against. Unfortunately for Luffy, there aren't actually many Luffy characters that are int, so it would be nice if we get a better Luffy down the line that is actually an int character. Speaking of his special though, it maxes at a 14 turn cooldown. Mine is not limit break expanded. I believe he does get one additional cooldown when you expand his limit break, which is very useful. So if this is a character you use a lot, you may want to consider doing that. But his special ability will boost your int character's slot effects by 2.25 for one turn, and then after one turn has passed, you get a 2.5 boost in the following turn to your slots. And then an added effect that says you can't be KO'd for one turn, which of course with his captain effect, wanting to take as much damage as you possibly can to reflect it back at the enemy, the fact that you can just not die for one turn means you can use it for tanking death hits, you can use it for just repelling damage. It's pretty awesome. And I love the fact that his special ability is the clock buff, not like you have to hit a certain amount of perfects to get the boost in the following turn. Lore just says, you know, when you activate the special, you get a big boost on one turn, and then the next turn you just get a bigger boost, which is just awesome. This special is really good. Works very well with his captain effect, of course. If you do use him as a sailor, though, he has an added effect which boosts your int character's base attack by 150 when you're 10% or low. That's really weird. I would have preferred if it was just a flat 100 boost all the time, rather than 150 below 10%, but I can understand why they would do that. And also makes his own psi, recovery, and tandem slots beneficial to himself. So nothing too crazy for his crewmate abilities. As for his potential abilities, he resists 5 turns of slot bind, which is not great actually, 7 turns of recovery bind, which could be better, and he he has Barrier Pierce, which is very useful. There's actually one piece of content you'll see in this video that, you know, instead of just getting rid of the barrier, we're just going to pierce the barrier with as much damage as we can, and it works very, very well. He does have a pretty good support effect as well. Attaches to any int character, and then it says when you use a damage dealing or health cut special, you get a 1.75 slot boost for your int characters for 1 turn. Very useful effect that definitely will see play. And of course, he's very good in Pirate Rumble, but I have not actually really played much Pirate Rumble this season. But moving forward, and once I get back into Pirate Rumble, I definitely want to try and build teams with these guys because they do seem very, very interesting in Rumble. But of course, this was a long-winded introduction to the video. I just want to make sure you guys understand completely what this character does. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the showcase of Halloween lore. So getting into the showcase, the first clip you guys are seeing is against Coliseum page 1. Now this particular clip is the exact same clip that I uploaded in my actual Coliseum video against page 1, because I just didn't want to just go ahead and build the exact same team again and do it all again. I just thought I'd just grab the clip from the Coliseum. But for those who didn't see it, essentially it doesn't really make that much of a difference whether you see this clip or not, because it's, you know, this Coliseum was built for the Halloween batch to take it on. So, you know, it does make sense that Halloween lore was going to be, you know, the most ideal captain for this particular content. We got Mihawk as a sub, of course. We have Crocodile, who is a great unit, great utility, great color affinity, Boa for utility, and also the Buggy for utility. Interestingly enough, that Buggy is like the most important rare recruit in this particular Coliseum. Gets rid of all these debuffs here against Sober Mask. Makes it a lot easier, that's for damn sure. But speaking more on Halloween lore, I have to say, he probably is one of the most fun Sugofest exclusive characters to use, just, you know, recently that is released. The fact that he can just go ahead and just tank damage and then reflect it back is pretty awesome. However, there are both, you know, positives and negatives to that. Obviously, the positives are quite strong, because when you're against bosses, you can use his special ability to basically not die, and then take a lot of damage and reflect it back. Now, obviously, that won't work if there's normal attacks only, because the reflection of damage will just become 1 instead of whatever number it would normally be. So that's obviously a pretty big downside. But then you also have the negative of the inherent effect of his captain effect, which means that stalling can be quite difficult. Because remember, even if like a turtle attacks you and you reflect that damage back, you're reflecting 100 times the damage that you had just taken. So if they deal 3,000 damage, you're dealing 300,000 damage back to them, which is going to kill like most turtles these days. So that's obviously a big problem. And it works for like mob characters as well, and mobs have less HP as well, so mobs will get killed very quickly, lobsters get killed very quickly, even high defense mobs, you'll be surprised, sometimes high defense mobs will actually get taken down from lore's effect, so you do have to be very, very careful in the way that you're using lore. You really have to take that into consideration, but luckily there are a couple of really good int characters that you can use alongside lore that will help you in terms of, you know, reducing your character's cooldowns, because that's one of the big benefits that, you know, Mihawk, Halloween Mihawk as a captain has. He reduces your cooldowns by 1 at the start of the fight, which I think that particular effect would have worked very, very well on Halloween lore instead. Allowing you to, you know, get your characters ready, you know, as soon as they possibly can, because if you're trying to stall for specials, you're going to reflect damage back and kill them before you can move on to the next stage. So that's obviously really, really bad, but luckily there are actually a really good couple of characters you can use, like namingly the more recent characters that would be really good with Halloween lore in terms of reducing your cooldowns would be like the new Kizuna Kid, the Halloween Kizuna Kid that came out recently. He has a special that can reduce your strength and int characters cooldowns. You've got characters such as the rare recruit NL, for example, who is another phenomenal rare recruit. I think I use him once or twice in this video you guys are going to see. He's a really good rare recruit because you can go ahead and use his special ability to not only reduce your character's cooldowns for your strength and int characters, but he also goes ahead and does damage. He like reduces your crew's health and then does damage. Now, mind you, any type of special that you use that reduces your crew's own health does not activate lore's captain effect. I wish it did, because it would make characters like Rare Recruit Pedro, Coliseum Sicilian, Rare Recruit NL, the new like special Nami character that came out with Super Type Snake Man. All of those characters would be like god tier units under Halloween lore, but unfortunately any type of special that reduces your own HP does not count for lore's reflect damage. However, there are a couple of things that you can do that can actually activate the reflect damage. One of the things you can do is if you bring a character that is a dual unit, that is an int character on one side and is not an int character on the other side, when you switch, because remember with lore's captain effect, he boosts the HP of characters that are int by 1.4 times. So when you're switching, and if you are at like full HP, for example, you actually lose a lot of health by switching into a character that is not an int character. You actually lose that health boost that Law would have given you with his captain effect, and that health reduction that you lose from switching from an int character to a non-int character will actually count as damage towards the enemy. So, there are a couple of very niche circumstances that you could use that for. I know that particular effect that I just mentioned about switching between different colored duel units does work for characters such as like V2 Katakuri, who tries to take as much damage as he can before he launches his special to deal lots of tap timing bonus damage. It's the exact same thing happens with V2 Katakuri. So, there are different kind of strategies that you may want to adopt, but in a lot of cases that specific circumstance with the duel unit probably isn't the best way to go about it. Also, just to quickly clarify with this particular clip that you guys are seeing against the Coliseum Hody Jones, this didn't work out as expected. I was kind of hoping that all of my specials would have been ready to go by the time I reached the final boss stage, and unfortunately that was not the case. So either way, even though all my specials were not ready at the start of the fight, it actually still ends up working out, as you guys will see. And the really cool thing is that when Hody dies, he revives, but he also does damage when he revives as well, which actually means that Law reflects a lot of the damage that he actually revives with. So he basically revives with like no HP at all, and we can just easily kill him, which is awesome. I actually wasn't expecting it to be that easy, but we do make it there. So as long as you kill him normally when he revives, and as long as you have a decent amount of health when you took the damage and you're able to tank that hit, it's actually really, really easy. So either way, that's just some of the really cool effects that you can have, especially on revive enemies, man. If they revive and health cut you, if they revive and do damage to you, Law is going to be a really, really great captain for that, especially if they do health cut, because remember that the more HP you have, and then when they health cut you, the more HP you actually lose in terms of the value of HP that you lose, which means that his reflect damage actually does more. And then, speaking about all of that particular effect of reflect damage, his super type special, we haven't even talked about that. Oh my god, his super type special is ridiculous. Now, I didn't use him in ultra difficult content like, a 13-star difficulty GARP challenge or like a really hard training forest. I did not use him in that in this video today. But I think that particular effect of his super type special obviously can be used in both an offensive and a defensive aspect. Now, when you think of healing, you normally think, oh, that's more of a defensive aspect, but because his captain effect is so offensively based by taking damage and then reflecting it back, you can definitely use it in a more offensive mindset, because you can just heal back your health, purposefully take damage to reflect as much damage as you possibly can to move on to the next stage. I think that's a really, really good way of doing it. And even in high difficulty content, as I was mentioning, with GARP challenges and also the like training forest, for example, just getting a 50% heal that cannot be interrupted is ridiculous. I do think, though, in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of all the super type characters that we have in the game, I don't think Law's super type special is like the best in the game. It's definitely very useful, though. I just think that in very specific circumstances, that super type special is going to be very, very nice to have. And the fact that he is an int super type unit is really good, because we have so many really good int characters in the game right now. I mean, later on down the line, we're going to get the super type character, well, not a super type character, but the versus character of Kaido versus Big Mom. Kaido and Big Mom being a strength and int character, so you can actually use Big Mom with Law in some ways like that. And plus, Big Mom actually, from memory, I think she does have some type of healing capabilities. So I could definitely see ways where you could potentially use Big Mom and Law together, and then if you need to get heals back on the fly, you can just do that with his super type special. And there's so many really powerful int characters that we mentioned. We got like super type Blackbeard, super type Katakuri, super type Mihawk, as we just mentioned here as well. The Shanks is okay. I'm not really the biggest fan of Halloween Shanks, but I can understand what they were trying to do, but I think they definitely missed the mark. And I mean, we could talk more about Halloween Shanks in another future video, potentially, if I get around to making a showcase for him. But yeah, Halloween Shanks definitely has a lot of issues that I think, with a really good 6+, he could really get ironed out to be, like, honestly one of the best characters in the game. I'm not even kidding. It's just, there are just a couple of issues with his kit that, with slight tweaks could make him exceptionally good. I just don't think he's really all of that right now. So this particular clip that you're seeing here is against that raid Sengoku and GARP, which when he first came out was a very difficult event. I know a lot of people kind of struggled with him when he first came out, but obviously with the characters we have now, it's not really that big of a problem. Plus support effects are pretty strong nowadays too. But then after I cleared that, I actually didn't even realize that Ambush Quest was active, and I mean, it's not a very difficult Ambush Quest. It was only against Whitebeard, so don't take this as like it's the best unit in the game because he clears Whitebeard so easily. No, definitely not. But you'll see here just some of the ways that you'll be able to use this, and something that I didn't actually realize on first glance is that the reflect damage that Law does is actually considered int damage, which means that any damage that you reflect against a Psi enemy is double damage. So Whitebeard just absolutely gets whipped right here. You'll see right here, all we're doing was just healing to make sure that we don't die, law special so we don't die, and just take the damage and then reflect it all back. It's pretty ridiculous. Reflecting like 8.2 million damage back after one single hit is pretty ridiculous, man. And plus, Law has like up to a 5 times captain with the orb boost. You got attack boost and chain lock, and there's lots of really cool things there. Now, the last clip you guys are seeing in this video is actually a GARP challenge versus Eneru. Now, I wanted to build a team just specifically against Eneru, and this was the first attempt that I had with this team. I was going to use Halloween Mihawk again, but I wanted to kind of shift it up just because, you know, I was using Halloween Mihawk on basically every team, so I wanted to shift it up. I used Zoro instead because the way that I was kind of thinking with this team is, you know, we get Special Bindle on the final stage, we get the effect where we can't really remove it because of the fear debuff and stuff. So the way that I was getting around it is I'm just going to use Law Special and Zoro Special on stage 6, whatever it is, and carry all the buffs into the final stage. That was the way that I was thinking about it. Though I was kind of silly though, because I kind of forgot that Eneru removed all your beneficial effects in the final stage, so the Halloween Shank Special is basically useless here. So Halloween Shanks could be replaced with something. I do have Mihawk on the team, the original version 1 Mihawk, because I needed some sort of way to proc the Super Tight Special of Law, because I wanted to get my healing back. And yeah, well, like this Mihawk basically does nothing throughout the entire fight. So Mihawk can be replaced with any other unit that procs the Super Tight. Shanks can be replaced with basically anything else. You know, and Zoro, right? And then we do have the pudding support attached to Sanji, so we can remove the fear debuff on the final, not the fear, but the stun debuff on the final stage. And you guys are just seeing here how easily Law tears through this content with double Law and his Super Tight specials to provide healing. We just tear through it all, man. Like, the only special we really use up until like the second last stage is the Sangoro special on the 5th stage to get rid of the rewind that gets inflicted to us. Plus we get color affinity. It makes taking out that stage just a little bit easier. But like, we basically don't use any other special along the way. We just let Law carry us through. And it definitely gave me Kaido vibes in terms of like Dex Kaido, right? Where, you know, you can just use him to wave clear all the stages for you. And it just gave me so many vibes of that. The only difference was here is that, of course, with Kaido, he does his thing at the end of the turn and it's a guaranteed amount of damage, right? Whereas with Law, it's variable damage. It depends how much damage you take. And you are taking a lot of damage, so you do need to get some healing capabilities in. So that is the difference there. But you do got to think, right, that Law is a super type unit, so that he gets an inherent advantage there. Plus he boosts int characters, not striker or powerhouse units. So it is a little bit different in the way they're structured. Plus Law can go up to a 5 times captain, Kaido's a 4 times captain. So there's give and take with both, but it's still awesome to see and get the same similar vibes, right, of Legend Kaido. This character is so much fun, and for those of you guys who have pulled him, I hope you guys are having a bunch of fun with him because he is just exceptional. But either way, I'm going to leave you guys with the rest of this clip here against the GARP challenge versus NL. A really powerful int team that was able to get the job done. If I would make changes though, as I said, Law and the Shanks and Mihawk can be replaced with anything else as long as you're still proccing the Super Tight Special of Law. That's the best thing. And then definitely Tal Nami as a support would probably be the best way forward as well. But anyways, that is going to conclude the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.